Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we are very pleased you have joined us for the Life Science Investor Forum. Our next presentation of the day is from Genvor. Please note, you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides. You can also view a company's availability for a one-on-one meeting by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Chad Pawlak, Chief Executive Officer of Genvor, which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol GNVR. Welcome, Chad.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. My name is Chad Pawlak, and I'm the CEO of Genvor, ticker's GNVR. And yes, we're on the OTCQB. Excited to be there. Today, my goal is to introduce you to Genvor's AI-accelerated peptide platform and how we are positioning to address really one of the most urgent global challenges in agriculture today, and that's crop disease. But in addition to that, associated with that, of course, is food security and the shift towards safer, residue-free biological solutions. My goal is simple. It's to give you a clear understanding of the opportunity, our progress to date, and how investors can participate through our current Reg D offering that was just published last week, and any ongoing partnership opportunities or discussions depending on who's out there watching this presentation today or into the future. Obviously, before we begin, this presentation will contain forward-looking statements. Actual results may differ, and I encourage you to review our disclosures on OTC Markets. The history of the company is absolutely fascinating. One of the reasons I joined was the two founders behind Genvor. They are two of the world-class peptide experts, Dr. Jesse Janes and Dr. Clayton Yates. Their insights were very straightforward. If peptides can transform human therapeutics, they could also transform agriculture. I myself have worked in the biological space of agriculture for well over a decade. And one thing that I often say to folks is that if you watch what's happening in life science and human therapeutics, it'll eventually make its way into agriculture somewhere between 5 to 10 years later. So the advent of peptides in human health and therapeutics, of course, is all the rage. There's a lot of enthusiasm. There's a lot of successful companies. There's a lot of investments there. As it relates to agriculture, I believe we're still in the early days, and very excited to share that with you today. With our founders, their vision was really based on now over 40 years of research. Dr. Jesse Janes did his postdoc in the late 1970s under Dr. Valentine at UC Davis. And for anybody that's a history buff in ag biotech, Dr. Valentine was the inventor of the first transgenic seed that put Monsanto on the map and eventually obviously changed the world tremendously as it relates to transgenic seed traits. Dr. Jesse Janes started his work back then. So sometimes I even say that we've been in stealth mode for over 40 years. Based on that research, the work he did in the following decades in the 80s and the 90s has really set us apart as a company with more data, more IP, more sequenced peptides really than anybody else out there in the world today. What we're solving for is really a really big problem. There's over $220 billion that's in lost yield each year for different plant pathogens. And these tools that growers are looking at to help solve for these challenges become increasingly more important. Regulators want softer chemistries, and consumers they're demanding residue-free foods. So the advent of biologicals become even more important as we look at how do we solve for these diseases, but at the same time meet the regulatory issues that continually expand and make it more difficult for new AIs, active ingredients, and new chemistries and new molecules to make it to the market. So in the world of biologicals relative to crop protection and agriculture, I like to say that we've grown through 2 generations of biologicals. The first were what I refer to as botanicals. So taking seaweed, for example, and making it into a biostimulant, taking pepper and chrysanthemums and crushing that and turning that into an insecticide. Taking on the next level, the second generation, looking at all the different live microbes from bacilluses to trichodermas to bradyrhizobiums and all those types of live microbes and such that we've brought to the market. And now I believe we're at that third level, third generation of biologicals, which include peptides, proteins, and enzymes. And what everybody's so excited about is we have the opportunity to bring forward biological solutions that have the efficacy of synthetic chemistry, but the value proposition that we've been promising the world with biologicals for a very, very long time. So one of the reasons I'm super excited about where we're at and what we're doing is because we get to do both of those things, not only for all those stakeholders from the regulatory side, but then also from the consumer side, and then most importantly, the growers trying to grow the food for all of us on a global basis. The market itself, agricultural biological market, is growing 9.5 billion to nearly 20 billion in the coming years. What's exciting about peptides, of course, is that we have regulatory advantages. Just like on the therapeutic human health side, when you're talking about AIs that are synthetic, it's a very, very long time frame to pass through regulatory. We have a fast-track EPA review option with peptides. There's no residue relative to export issues. Increasingly preferred over chemical fungicides, assuming price points are met, which we'll talk about in a slide or two ahead. And also that the efficacy is equal to or better than those other older chemistries. We have organic capability depending on how the peptide is sequenced and designed. And Genvor right now is directly aligned with those regulatory pressures that continue to increase, as well as the consumer demands as the market continues to shift. At the heart of what Genvor has, it's our AI-driven platform. Right now, we have over 50,000 sequenced peptides supported by over 7 years of collaboration and research with the USDA. And as I mentioned, over 40 years of academic research behind that with our scientists. And why that's important is that obviously having a library of that magnitude allows us to bring products to market based on those sequence peptides a lot faster, a lot easier than others. Being able to design peptides at 10, 15, 25 sequence peptides very, very quickly is something else that is a very much a competitive advantage. And you'll see that with our AI platform here in just a little bit. We currently are operating a licensing first model, which really has us focused and disciplined as a capital efficient organization. Previously, I've been part of teams and organizations where we had done fundraising where we built custom fermentation systems, raising tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in order to do that, and then deploying national sales teams and regulatory teams in order to execute on a vertically integrated business model. What I've tried to do with Genvor is to scale that back to focus on what we believe to be our greatest asset, and that is our IP portfolio and our ability to design peptides stronger, more efficacious, and more active than anybody else in the market, and then collaborate and partner with those who can make those peptides, those who can formulate those peptides, and then ultimately who can distribute those peptides. How we deliver those peptides really is a basis on how we want to go to, how our partners want to go to market. The company was founded with seed traits And for those of you that are familiar with the sector, you might be scratching your head there going, that's the harder of the two, if not the hardest. And that's absolutely true. What we were able to discover early on was a line of peptides that could actually be encoded inside the seeds of corn and other crops as well to tackle and wipe out over a dozen different nasty pathogens. We've also, over the last year, designed a number of different formulations that are available for sprays, so a foliar application. And we can also do seed traits or seed treatments as well, depending on what the needs are of the customer. And then at the heart of the design system is really our BioCipher. And that's our proprietary AI engine. Anybody want to get more detailed information on how that works, how that's different? Obviously, everyone's talking about AI today, but we've built a data set, not anything like any other competitor in the market today that could replicate that system. It pulls not only know-how, but the peptide research of 40 years of Dr. Jesse Janes and Dr. Clayton Yates. And so as anybody knows that's looked at AI, the system itself is relying upon the ability for the data to then be learned and be trained, and then to be able to enhance and improve what you started with. So what's great about BioCipher from our side is we've got that mountain of data that we're starting with, which allows us to now be able to create a defensible, scalable delivery platform with a growing library that we hope others will be able to not only utilize what we know is available and ready for commercialization, but also to work on designing new opportunities and sequences that have not been developed yet. So today we classify our peptides into 4 different classes. AMPs, so those are broad spectrum pathogen controls, so we're killing diseases. SEPs, these are very exciting class of peptides. These are for stress tolerance and nutrient uptake and nutrient efficiency. Very important sector within the crop protection and fertilizer side of the sector. NEPs is a very exciting class of peptides as well. This is where we can increase the protein, as an example, and other nutritional opportunities in product. So imagine delivering a bovine-specific total mixed ration or TMR for a cow, or a hog operation, or a poultry operation that would allow increases in protein or other nutrient items within the ration that's being fed to the animals. And then, of course, an insecticidal number of peptides to either mitigate, kill, or otherwise disrupt insects in various crops and in geographies. This slide is obviously rather loud and noisy, but what it does is it shows you our development pipeline. As I mentioned, we're a design company. Our goal is to design peptides. I sometimes describe us to others as, think of us as an architectural firm. If you were to build your dream house or your retreat cabin somewhere on a piece of property you acquired, you wouldn't hire the construction crew out of the gate. You'd hire a design architectural firm before the builders. And sit down, design the property, where you want your bedroom window, where do you want your dining room table, where do you want to see the sunrise and sunset. And then at the conclusion of that exercise, then the folks that show up cutting wood, hammering nails, show up and build that dream house. That's what we are. We're that architectural firm. Here to design those peptides or bring those peptides currently in our library to you as a collaborating partner to solve for whatever problem we're trying to solve for, from disease to insects to nutritional uptake. And these crops here are crops that we have advanced research on. both lab work as well as greenhouse work, and we do have field trial data in some respects as well. And currently we have research happening in Europe, multiple labs here in the US, as well as 2 labs in Brazil. This is another very technical slide. Again, you can download this if interested. But what this does is it showcases the pathogens that we've been very successful in knocking out in previous research, and the research that's been done with the USDA. That research has been validated now for over 11 years. And our lead peptides show very low concentrations across some of these nasty destructive pathogens, which is super important. There's been other peptides in the market that have shown efficacy, but at very expensive cost of production, as well as tremendous amounts of volume required in order to knock back or knock down that pathogen. So for those that want to look into that detail, I'm happy to share that as well in a future conversation, because it's an incredibly impactful and competitive advantage. This, going along with the efficacy, is also stability. Another challenge peptides have had in really both sectors, life science and agriculture, is stability and how long they live and last. And we've been able to demonstrate shelf stability with 90+% retention with a 2-year simulation of heat of our peptides in a formulation, which is something that's very much unique to us, that we definitely know is a competitive advantage for the marketplace as the products make their way into the marketplace. From a manufacturing standpoint, we have identified 4 contract manufacturers that have been able to demonstrate not only that they can produce our peptides biologically and with formulations if we desire, but also at the cost of goods needed for acceptance at grower level and grower ROI, which is, again, something that has been a challenge with other peptides in the agricultural space previously. Third-party validation. Last year, there were almost 40 companies that applied to a competition that Bayer had held called the Bayer Golden Ticket, and that competition was incredibly competitive. It set us up as a company that is now available and ready for the next step. The science has been validated. The IP has been validated by really the #1 player in the sector. So we're very proud that we received that first award and that recognition as a company that has a great opportunity for those on the investment side, but then also, of course, on the collaboration and, of course, the grower side. The USDA work we've done, and then recently you'll see there's a press release about our recent teaming agreement with Tuskegee, which will open up additional research opportunities for us as well. We talked about our capital efficient licensing first model, and our IP portfolio as well is also available if anybody's interested in that. That's the full-time team or officers and directors that you see here. We have a lab in Woodlands, California that Dr. Brianna Fuchs manages for us. That is a lab that was part of what the Bayer Award allowed us. So we were granted a wet lab space there. So very proud of that, very excited about that team. And with that, I will again thank everybody for taking the time to look at us today and give me an opportunity to talk about Genvor. And for those investors that are interested in participating, as I mentioned, we have an open Reg D 506C available. We've actually linked that into our website now. So you can actually click your way through that process if you're interested in investing. Anybody interested in having a one-on-one conversation with us, I'm certainly available for that as well. So I will stop there and open it up for questions. So the first question is, out of the sector, or out of the agricultural value chain, where is the biggest revenue driver and what is uniquely positioned? And that question is relative to sprays, seed traits, and animal feed. The quick answer, of course, is I like them all. They all have tremendous upside and opportunities for us. The biggest opportunity is really seed traits for us, which, again, for some of you, you might say, really, that's the most difficult out of them. But understand that we have almost 15 years worth of data, and the last boxes to be checked on that work is in sight today. And we have a number of companies that are evaluating that collaboration and joint development agreements now. So that is the shortest opportunity for us. Biological sprays will be second. We have a number of different opportunities with biological sprays. It's a lot wider collaboration market. There's a lot more companies that can bring formulated sprays to market compared to seed traits, but the technology has been proven in both of those as well. Animal feed is really a whole separate go-to-market strategy, different players, different companies, different solutions, but also incredibly large for us. Second, or next question. So the question is, I've mentioned a number of material transfer agreements and MTAs that are currently active, which is true. And the question is, what technical or commercial readouts will come from them in the next 12 to 18 months? So as you probably are aware, the process of those MTAs and JDAs are really trust but verify, right? So I'm very enthusiastic and excited with what we're going to see in the next 12 to 18 months, for the fact that the assays that are being worked on by these what I call ag majors are assays and research that we've already done multiple times in USDA labs, within our own labs, within third-party labs that we've done. And so it's really just waiting out the time it takes for those experiments and assays to be replicated. Once that happens, I'm very enthusiastic that we're going to be able to then pivot from the research conversations to the commercial conversations, and then begin the negotiations of how do those JDAs work and how those levers and triggers work. Next question, Bear. The Bayer Golden Ticket and Tuskegee University partnership are great third-party validation, but they're transferred into commercial partnerships or just R&D collaboration. What is the commercial pathway? Okay, so the question is, Bayer and Tuskegee are great R&D beginnings. What does it look like to graduate from R&D to commercialization? With Tuskegee, the focus is more R&D. It's more access to the different schools within Tuskegee University, where we'll have access to students, professors, labs, equipment, greenhouses, field trials, that sort of thing. Obviously, if we identify any very unique IP or something extremely unique, there would be an opportunity to bring that forward into the market. But that's not really focused more on the commercial side. That definitely R&D. Relative to Bayer, Bayer is really open to both. Obviously, the milestones and the research is where we're at right now. We've been working with Bayer since the Golden Ticket on a number of different confidential conversations and assays that we're excited to continue to explore with them. Bayer is a leader in crop protection, in seed traits. really in all aspects. So the commercial opportunities with them is incredibly significant, global, and really across all aspects of all the peptides in our library. So all of which is confidential right now, but we continue to explore different opportunities to collaborate and bring products to market. Next question. We recently opened a lab in Woodland, California, which is true. What capabilities are fully operational today, and what key experiments or field trial support can this facility deliver in the next 12 months? Great question. So that is a wet lab. So what's great about that is we're able to do very fast in vitro type experiments. One thing we're working on right now that I'm happy to share is the combination of how different formulated peptide sprays are working with protease. As we all know, if you're close to this sector, protease is both a good thing and a bad thing. Obviously, it protects the plant from bad, but sometimes it's a bit blind and it doesn't know that a peptide might be good. So we do have to make sure that our formulation and our peptide has a bit of signaling system that goes on where the peptide says, I come here in peace and with good, and the protease involved says, okay, come on in, let's fight the disease together. So that's one area we're working on. Obviously, where we're at is very close to Bayer's Life Hub. We're about 2 miles from that facility, and there's a lot of other ag biotech greenhouse companies and field trial plots that are available for us to continue to move our technology and our research from the lab to greenhouses to field trials with the ecosystem that is available in that Sacramento, UC Davis neighborhood. Next question. You recently announced a new U.S. patent for corn. How does that expand or strengthen the IP position beyond your earlier corn? And what does it change economically for Genvor? I've always believed that a stronger IP portfolio is a value driver for an organization. So strong issued patents is always a good thing. What this demonstrates to me is also the generational advances that our earlier peptides continue to improve. And we've been able to continue to bring forward new technology on top of older generation technology. So again, it strengthens the value of that IP portfolio. It also strengthens the efficacy and the know-how of what these seed traits are going to be able to deliver in a real world environment, specifically around corn with those dozen plus pathogens that I mentioned on a previous slide. Next question. Your BioCipher algorithm has 50,000 designed peptides. How is this defensible against well-capitalized competitors like, and then he lists a bunch of our competitors, once efficacy is proven and patents expire? And then if efficacy is proven and patents expire. Well, the good news is we've got a long time yet with the patents. Obviously, the defense around those patents, I would hope, would encourage those competitors to not be competitors and instead be collaborators. The need for these products are today. The need the grower is looking for are today. And as I just mentioned in the last question, our ability to advance peptides, efficacy, activity, low dose continues to improve on a monthly, if not quarterly basis. So I would hope that we have a collaborative vision and culture here at Genvor that these companies are not competitors, but they rely on us to be that architectural design firm to work with them in understanding what they're trying to deliver with peptides in their product portfolio, and allow us to be that design firm. Because we have as much as we do in that algorithm of BioCipher, we're extremely confident that at least for the next 3 to 5 years, we have an incredible opportunity to be leaders, as others are certainly working towards making this tool and this type of technology advantageous for the entire sector. But we have an incredible head start that is not something you can shortcut. 40 plus years of research and work is what it is. And there's no substitute for those successes and those failures that Dr. Jesse Janes in particular has seen in his career, not only in agriculture, but if you really read through his white papers and his IP, he's been extremely impactful and successful across therapeutics and other sectors beyond just agriculture. Next question. You secured you targeted 220 billion in annual crop losses, but what percent of the addressable market will actually adopt peptide solutions versus sticking to cheaper? So the question is around how many companies will stick with cheaper chemicals if our products continue to gain the commercial traction. And what I've seen, like I mentioned in my intro about my background with the work I've done across biologicals, what I see is that regenerative agriculture and other synthetic chemistries and biological chemistries, I predict we're going to see a lessening of a competition between those products, and instead growers making more comprehensive decisions on regenerative solutions and products based on those environmental impacts. And if we as providers of this technology are doing what we're supposed to be doing, it shouldn't just be this is biological, therefore it should be more expensive. If we do these things right over time, we will be able to match those prices and be able to deliver to the growers a product that is as efficacious, if not better, still maintain the yield that's required, but be able to do it at a cost of goods that allows those growers not to be looking at a reduction in their overall positive cash flow just because they want biological or regenerative ag type products. And I believe that to be true as something you see across these contract manufacturers that we're working with today, because in the last 10 years, there's been hundreds of millions of dollars invested in precision fermentation. And we've seen in my short career of 10 plus years in biologicals, a time where significantly successful companies were fermenting on site with a broomstick and a 5-gallon bucket microbes that they would then apply into a farmer's field to fermentation systems and tanks that are 3 stories high. So in a very, very short period of time, we've gotten very, very good at precision fermentation for microbes. Those facilities that have been extremely well capitalized are not at capacity, and they're all in a very sound position to look at scaling. And as I mentioned, we're working with a handful of them today to do the same thing for peptides, proteins, and enzymes. So I see that coming down, those price points coming down dramatically, and I'm excited to be able to see that price parity no longer be an issue here. Okay, I think at this point, I don't see any other questions in the queue. I want to thank everybody again. As stated by Greg at the beginning of the call, I have some availability if anybody's interested in scheduling one-on-one. My son is graduating from TCU this week, so I'm here outside of Dallas celebrating with him. So if my schedule seems a little bit tight over the next couple of days, that's why. So feel free to reach out through other means if that schedule doesn't work, and I'm certainly available in the coming weeks to meet with anybody regarding collaboration, investment, or any other opportunities that can advance what we're doing here at Genvor. And with that, thank you. I appreciate it.